Good morning, my dear students. Today I will explain the Mesopotamian civilization. Mesopotamia is a Greek word. That means Mesopotamia is a Greek word. What is the meaning of Mesopotamia? Means the land between two rivers. One mass question. What is the meaning of Mesopotamia? Means the land between two rivers. ಎರಡು ನದಿಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ಒಂದು ನಾಗರಿಕತೆ, ಎರಡೂ ನದಿಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದ ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಮೆಸೊಪೊಟೇಮಿಯಾ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಗ್ರೀಕ್ ವರ್ಡ್. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಟೂ ರಿವರ್ಸ್? ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಯುಪ್ರಟಿಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೈಗ್ರಿಸ್. ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಎರಡು ನದಿಗಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ two must name the two rivers of Mesopotamian civilization means Euphrates and Tigris. I told the land between two rivers. How means here the Mesopotamian and Tigris center in the middle the civilization was developed. Which civilization was developed? Mesopotamian civilization. That reason the Mesopotamia means the land between two rivers. Next, these civilizations were when they rise means 3500 to 500 BC. 3500 to 500 BCE. We saw this civilization was rise, and also this civilization is called two mass question. Why the Mesopotamian civilization is called the cradle and the graveyard of the civilization? Majority of the civilizations were developed on the bank of the river. So in that reason we call the cradle of civilization. For example, Nile, Egypt civilization, they call the cradle of civilization. So why they call the graveyard? ಇದು ನಾಗರಿಕತೆಗಳ ತೊಟ್ಟಿಲು ಅಂತಾನೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಾಗರಿಕತೆಗಳ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಅಂತಾನೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Graveyard means samadhi. Why we call that the Mesopotamian civilization is the cradle and graveyard of the civilization? This is the two mass question, because in that place majority of the civilizations were developed, and same thing majority of the civilizations were destroyed in that same place. ಅನೇಕ ನಾಗರಿಕತೆಗಳು ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಯಿತು, ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಯಿತು, and also they are destroyed, they decline, ನಾಶ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಯ್ತು. Why means the land between two rivers. ಭೂಮಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎರಡು ನದಿಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿದೆ. So why we call that graveyard means, for example, earthquake ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, and then floods, famine, these are the main important things. Some diseases ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದರಿಂದ civilizations were destroyed. Are you understood? Next, where we saw this Mesopotamia means now it's called the present eastern Syria and southern Turkey. Now it is the most of Iraq. We saw the Mesopotamian civilization. Next, what are the important civilizations were developed in that place? Means there are the 5 important races, shape and culture of the civilization. What are the main 5 race civilizations? Means Sumerians, Akkadians, Amorites, Assyrians and Chaldeans. These are the 5 races were developed on the bank of the rivers. So why I told that why the riverside where civilizations were developed means because of the water facilities, irrigation purpose, drinking purpose, transportation purpose, climate purpose. So land was suitable for the agriculture. The main thing, the civilizations were developed on the bank of the rivers. So, what are the 5 races? Means Sumerians, Akkadians, Amorites, Assyrians and Chaldeans. Next, Chaldeans we call to the New Babylonians. Next is the very important thing, Nebuchadnezzar. Who was he? Nebuchadnezzar, he was a very important, or he was a very greatest ruler in Mesopotamian civilization. What is his gift means he was built a hanging garden. ತೂಗು ಉದ್ಯಾನವನ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ವಂಡರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್. ಪ್ರಪಂಚದ 7 ಅದ್ಭುತಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಒಂದು. Who was built a hanging garden means Nebuchadnezzar. He was a very great person. And also Amorites. Here Amorite races. Who was the great king of Amorites means Hammurabi. Are you heard that Hammurabi? Yes, he was a very famous ruler. And also he was making a law maker. ಆತನನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಕಾನೂನುಗಳನ್ನ ಬರೆದವನು ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ silent. This is very important 10 marks question. Silent futures of the Mesopotamian civilization. What are the main silent futures of the Mesopotamian civilization? Means political condition. First one, which one? Political condition. ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, Mesopotamians were established the city states first. What they established means they established the city states. After they which developed the kingdom, the city states were developed into the kingdoms, ರಾಜ್ಯ ಆಯಿತು, and later into an empire. ಅದು empire ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಯಿತು. King was the head of the both administration and religion also. Who was the head of the administration and religion means king. The peoples were regarded as the king was the god of the representative. Peoples were regarded as the representative of the god. Who was the representative of the god? King. ಯಾರು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಅಲ್ಲಿನ ಜನರು ದೇವರ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಯಾಗಿ ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಆಳ್ವಿಕೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So he was the head of the state and also head of the owner of the all properties. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿಗೂ ಓನರ್ ಯಾರಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ? ಕಿಂಗೆ. Now this is Hammurabi. It's 5 marks question. This is 5 marks question. Very important. Explain the achievements of Hammurabi. Hammurabi. Who was Hammurabi? What is the main achievements? What he was the main thing? His year 2123 to 2081. So he was a Babylonian king. He was very famous king in Hammurabi, and also he was very famous king. And he was the very important ruler in Mesopotamian dynasty. He conquered the whole of Mesopotamia. Who was conquered the whole of Mesopotamia means Hammurabi. He conquered the whole of the Mesopotamia, and he was Hammurabi. He was built so many temples, and he was built so many forts. In Babylonian, ita aneka palace. He was also built some palaces and temple also. Next, he was introduced code of law. What he was introduced means code of Hammurabi. ಇದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಹಮ್ಮುರಾಬಿ. ವೈ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ದಟ್ ದ ಕೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಹಮ್ಮುರಾಬಿ? ಇದನ್ನ ಕೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಹಮ್ಮುರಾಬಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಎಸ್, ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಕೋಡ್, ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಎ ಲಾ ಮೇಕರ್. ಇದನ್ನ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ರಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದವನು. Hammurabi, he became a very famous person of Mesopotamian civilization. So he was introduced a code of law. What he was introduced? Code of law. ಈತ ಏನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ? ಕೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ. ವೇರ್ he was introduced? In Babylonia. In that code of law, what he was introduced? ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಆತ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ದ ಸಮ್ ಲಾಸ್, ಅನೇಕ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳನ್ನ ಸಂಗ್ರಹಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ದ. ಅಂಡ್ ವೆನ್ ಹಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈಡ್ ದೆಮ್, ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಾನೂನುಗಳನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ, ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ. ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಡ್ ದೆನ್, ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಾನೂನುಗಳನ್ನ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಆಡೆಡ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಒನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಹೊಸ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳನ್ನ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂತ ಹೋದ. ಹಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಎ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್, ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಕೋಡ್ ಹಿ ವಾಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ means he was 282 codes. How many code he was introduced means 282, 282 laws na he was introduced. So for which ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಅನ್ವಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, aspect the life of personal properties where this law was ರಿಲೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಆಲ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್. ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಈತ ಕೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅನ್ವಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ, ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟು, ಲೇಬರ್, ಮ್ಯಾರೇಜ್, ಡ್ರೈವರ್ಸ್, ಸ್ಲೇವ್ and right of man and woman. So when you introduce the Hammurabi's code of law, it was related to aspect for the all life. For example, personal properties, trade and commerce, accident, divorce cases, labors, marriage, slaves and rights. So when he was introduced the code of law, where he was curved means he was curved the code of law very beautiful black stone, ಕಪ್ಪು ಬಂಡೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ he was curved it, ಅದನ್ನ ಕರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ದ. And he was oldest written code of law. Now his history, ಆತ when he was introduced, his history is very important. And then his principle, what is that his main principle? ಆತನ ಒಂದು ತತ್ವ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟಿಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟ್ಯಾಟ್. ಅದೇನು ಟಿಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟ್ಯಾಟ್, an eye for an eye, a tooth for an tooth. And the tit for an tat, an eye for an eye, ಸೇಡಿಗೆ ಸೇಡು ತೀರ್ಸ್ಕೊಳೋದು. an eye for an eye ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಣ್ಣು, ಅಂಡ್ ಹಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹಲ್ಲು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ತತ್ವನೇ ಈತನ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಟಿಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟ್ಯಾಟ್, an eye for an eye, and tooth for an tooth. This is the main code of the Hammurabi. So for example, how it was applied means, for example, on the patient, ಒಬ್ಬ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರು ಒಬ್ಬ ರೋಗಿಯನ್ನ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಸೊ ದ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಡೈಡ್, ಆತ ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೂ ವಾಸ್ ದ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಆತ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. Next class I will explain the social condition.